What if Obi-Wan had visions of Qui-Gon Jinn's death? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Obi-Wan closes his eyes to get some rest, just as his master suggested. With the wheels of the Senate finally turning, it will soon be time for them to return to Naboo. While he is pleased to help Queen Amidala and her people, he can't shake off his worry at the strange warrior he encountered on Tatooine. He is a Sith Lord, there is little doubt about that. Neither is the power he wields. Obi-Wan still replays their brief encounter in his mind, and as he drifts off to sleep, the warrior emerges once again. Instead of the desert, they find themselves on Naboo, where he and Qui-Gon are facing off against Maul. Despite outnumbering him, the warrior does not seem particularly bothered. He is careful to prevent them from surrounding him, using the superior length of his weapon to keep them back. He whirls and twists, spinning his saber staff around to prevent them from overwhelming him. Instead, he gives ground, though this does not seem like a victory. It seems more like him leading them off. Maul takes them to the reactor, where he suddenly activates the ray shields, preventing Obi-Wan from joining him. There, he continues to duel with Qui-Gon until he drives his lightsaber into his stomach. Obi-Wan's real self and his dream both scream aloud just as he wakes up. Obi-Wan shoots awake and gasps, holding his chest as his heart pounds. Once he begins to relax, he hunches over and buries his head into his arms. He tells himself that this was all just a dream, just the stress of the last few days playing tricks on him. But he knows it's a lie. Though the shock subsides, he can feel something lingering at the pit of his stomach, a low warning of what might be to come. This wasn't just a dream. The next few days, Obi-Wan says nothing. He knows his master too well. Qui-Gon will not try to fight it. He will accept whatever comes with dignity. To him, this is the way of the living force. But Obi-Wan cannot accept that. He considers telling the council, but dismisses the idea. They will not take it seriously, and they certainly will not remove Qui-Gon from the mission. No, if he is to tell someone, it must be someone who cares about his master just as much as him. After another day of preparations, Obi-Wan excuses himself and says he needs to walk and clear his head. It is not a lie, as the stress has gotten to him, but it is also not the entire truth either, as he heads to the Jedi Master's quarters and finds the older Jedi meditating in his room.
Master Dooku?
Ah, young Obi-Wan. What a surprise. Are you here running an errand for your master?
No, Master. I'm here on my own business. But it concerns my master. I believe he is in danger.
Dooku's eyes open, and he regards the boy warily, as if searching to see whether he is joking or not. But when he sees how serious the boy's face is, he beckons him to come in.
This mission you're undertaking is quite risky, and unlike anything the Jedi have done in some time. I understand your worry.
It is not just that. I had a vision from the Force. At least, I think it was. But I saw him being killed.
Tell me everything.
Obi-Wan nods and sits down. Before he realizes it, the entire story spills out. He talks about the strange warrior they encountered and how they ran into each other again during the mission, where Qui-Gon was cut down. By the end, Dooku looks like he's aged a decade and shakes his head. He tries to keep the grief from his face as he clears his throat.
You are indeed correct that was a Force vision. You're quite young to receive one, but there is no denying it. Qui-Gon must not join this mission. Neither should you, young one. Fighting a Sith is not for a Padawan.
Dooku tells Obi-Wan that he will take care of everything. Once he's alone, his anger comes rushing in as he thinks of his ally, Palpatine. He knew about Maul and knew Palpatine wished to stop them, but he said nothing of killing Qui-Gon. He had assumed that the Chancellor intended to capture him and use him as a hostage, but now looking back, he realizes that Palpatine would never do that. Not when he doesn't have anything to gain from it. But that doesn't mean that Dooku will let him get away with anything. For the next few days, he works to persuade the Jedi Council from sending Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon back. He points out how they encountered a Sith warrior during this mission, and it might not be a coincidence. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan is just a Padawan, and too inexperienced to fight Maul. He recommends more experienced Jedi, especially since they are acting on behalf of the Republic. At the same time, Obi-Wan tries to dissuade Qui-Gon as well, citing his need to train Anakin. But the final decision falls upon the Council, who agree to send Coleman Trebor and Yarael Poof instead. This frees Qui-Gon to leave the Jedi Order to train Anakin. He does not leave alone, as both Dooku and Obi-Wan join him. Once they are away from Coruscant, Dooku decides to speak to them.
Now that we are safe, I feel I can at last reveal the truth. Qui-Gon, you are in grave danger. Your Padawan saw a vision of you dying on Naboo. If you go through this mission, it will be more than a dream. I know the warrior hunting you, and he is very dangerous. His name is Darth Maul.
How do you know of this warrior, Master?
Because I was working with his master. The two of us believed that the Republic was rotten and needed to be changed. I thought that perhaps something like this would be the necessary shock to convince them to change and take action. But I see now that this isn't what my colleague wants. All he craves is power.
All those people suffering, it is because you enabled it. Master, how could you? Isn't that exactly what you fought against? For people to not simply be mere pawns?
I am not proud of what I did, Qui-Gon. You must believe me. It is why I wish to help you now.
Very well. What else do we need to know?
One more thing. Maul. He is only the apprentice. The master is a man named Palpatine, and he has just become the Chancellor. This crisis was all part of his plan to seize power by sowing chaos and fear in the Republic. The Naboo blockade was just the beginning. He plans on doing more. Much more.
Then we should stop him now before he can act the next part of his plan.
Careful. He now holds the highest seat of government. If you aim at the Chancellor, be sure you will not miss. We must first gather evidence.
But while they begin their plan, Palpatine flounders. The Jedi Masters might be more experienced, but they lack Qui-Gon's experience and connection with the locals, preventing them from securing alliances and helping the Naboo resistance gain momentum. Instead, when they attempt to storm the Theed Royal Palace, the insurgents are routed and the Jedi Masters are killed by Maul. Padme is captured, and Palpatine must accept a humiliating peace deal that gives the Trade Federation what they want. But the most damning part is the fact that Darth Plagueis learns about Maul's existence from this incident. Now he is fully aware of his apprentice's plot against him.
I find your lack of success on Naboo most disturbing, Palpatine.
My master, the situation grew too complex. The Jedi sent were not the ones I intended. They were not supposed to lose.
And yet they did. And now the Jedi won't take our presence seriously. That savage just killed 2 members of the Jedi Council. The Jedi will not merely accept that. That is no small feat. One might assume you are trying to train an apprentice to use against me.
No, never, my master. You must believe me.
He suddenly gasps as he begins to choke and feels his throat constricting as his master chokes him with the Force.
Must I? If you truly want my trust, I expect results, not excuses. Fix this mess before the Jedi and the Republic begin asking questions.
Dooku stands at the edge of the table, reviewing the data logs he's managed to recover regarding the events of Naboo. Many of these were public, but few were things he's managed to snag before he lost the Trade Federation's databanks. The pale glow of the data streams cast long shadows across his weathered face. Obi-Wan stands beside him, arms crossed, eyes sunken from sleepless nights haunted by visions. Together, in secret, they pore over financial records recovered from Trade Federation channels, not authorized for Jedi review.
I don't trust coincidences. The invasion, the timing of the elections, this feels too coordinated.
You are right. That is why we are here. A skinflint like Newt Gunray isn't one to part with his wealth easily, not unless he has been given appropriate incentive. My colleague must have offered him something to get the ball rolling.
His eyes flicker with suspicion as a pattern begins to emerge. Shell corporations, dozens of them, funneling credits through encrypted transfers. The trail leads to Moonalist, the heart of the banking clan. And deeper still, behind layers of deception, a name he hasn't heard in years. Damask Holdings.
Hego Damask. I know that name.
Who is he?
A financier. If he's involved, then this plot reaches far beyond the Trade Federation.
Elsewhere, far from the shadows of their ship, Qui-Gon Jinn trains Anakin in the quiet serenity. The boy's movements are raw but focused, the hum of the ship's engines helping to relax him, and each swing of his wooden staff a reflection of a will not yet tamed. Qui-Gon watches with quiet pride, unaware of the storm building in the galaxy's financial core. He still does not fully forgive his master for what he did, but he understands that this is a dangerous situation. and if they are to survive, they must work together, and Anakin must be prepared. Back on Coruscant, Dooku contacts Senator Bail Organa in secret.
I need access to classified Senate records, financial authorizations related to the Trade Federation and its corporate sponsors. I believe there is more to this invasion than a simple trade dispute.
This could raise alarms, Count. If the Chancellor learns I helped...
The Chancellor may be compromised. 2 Jedi Masters died, and that means they have something capable of killing them. Help me, and we may yet stop something far worse than a blockade.
You'll have it within the day.
As Dooku moves to decrypt the next layer of the Federation's finances across the galaxy, Darth Plagueis stirs. From his shadowed estate on Sojourn, he watches the data breach unfold with a cold amusement. Dooku is more dangerous than anticipated. With a flick of his fingers, Plagueis contacts the intergalactic banking clan. He reminds the likes of Sand Hill of their debts to him and demands that they take action. Within hours, dummy companies spring to life, forged to mask the real trail. Accountants are silenced, servers wiped clean, and so the hunt becomes a game of deception. But the information that Bail Organa provides proves instrumental. It gives them a list of aides and go-betweens who the Trade Federation and Banking Clan work with throughout the span of the blockade. Dooku decides to approach one and head to one of the Banking Clan holdings, where the exchanges took place. When they arrive, Dooku is accompanied by Qui-Gon, and they claim they are here for Jedi business, to negotiate a loan for the Jedi Order and request to speak with one of the aides. As they head deeper into the facilities, Obi-Wan and Anakin linger in the shadows, moving to their databanks to secure whatever information they can. The young banker is a bit confused to see the Jedi, and more than a little wary, but he hides it behind a smile. That is until Dooku steps forward.
We know that you've been handling business regarding the Trade Federation and the Banking Clan, and we would like to know the source of Nute Gunray's funds.
I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to say where such funds are from. Our policy does not permit me to reveal any of our clients' data.
You are not, or do not want to, my friend. We have no interest in harming you. All we require is information.
I'm telling you, this is something I cannot provide you with.
My friend, we already know that you handled the transactions between Nute Gunray and the Banking Clan. We already know that it was used for this blockade. Therefore, we know this money was used for an illegal operation. If you do not cooperate, it may force the Republic to conduct a more thorough investigation.
You Jedi do not have the authority to make claims like that.
Indeed. This is more true than you think. You see, we may have exaggerated when we said we were operating under official order business. That means anything that happens here is strictly under the table.
To emphasize his point, Dooku lays his lightsaber on the table in full view of the banker. The Mun's eyes widen, and he shakes his head.
Please, you must believe me. I had no idea where that money was going to.
We do not have to believe anything, but I can be convinced if your story is compelling enough.
All right, you're right. I was involved in that deal. I was sent there by Hego Damask. He sent me the money from his vault on Scipio.
His eyes widen, and he gasps in surprise. The 2 Jedi leap back as he's lifted off the ground, his hands clenching against his throat, before there is a loud snap, and he slumps to the ground. The doors slide open, revealing Darth Maul, who smiles as he regards the pair. This meeting is long overdue. Unfortunately, the bank is now closed for today. The Jedi ignite their lightsabers and rush at him as Maul readies his saber staff. Dooku comes at him first, lightsaber slashing down, then thrusting forward. His duelist style immediately gives him the edge as he advances upon Maul, trying to force him back with a set of quick strikes. Qui-Gon follows, sweeping his lightsaber down and forcing Maul back, but he counters by whirling his lightsaber around and slashing towards Dooku, who parries it. He then uses his backblade to try and strike Qui-Gon, who narrowly sidesteps. Seeing this, Dooku feels a surge of protectiveness and shoves him back with the Force. But the anger amuses Maul, who continues to advance and sweeps aside his next strike. When the two clash, their blades rattle the ground around them, but Maul is younger and stronger and pushes Dooku aside. He rushes to Qui-Gon, who blocks these strikes and has more luck. The Jedi parries and counters each move. Qui-Gon then shifts on the attack and rains down blows on Maul, whose agility keeps him one step ahead. That is, until Dooku joins in. His Makashi form remains perfect and puts Maul in a difficult position as he actually pushes back. The two attack in unison, bringing their lightsabers down and forcing him to defend. When their weapons lock, Maul senses the tension within Dooku as he glances protectively at his former apprentice. Seeing this weapon, Maul twists and aims his strike towards Qui-Gon. Dooku's eyes widen as he moves to defend, but it is a feint, and Maul twists back towards the older Jedi, scoring a deep wound on his shoulder. He cries out and falls to the ground, but Qui-Gon is on him and lifts the desk from the ground and hurls it at Maul, sending him staggering and letting the Jedi Master use a force push to throw him off the ledge. He immediately rushes to his former master, who stumbles into a kneeling position.
Master, are you all right? I'm fine, my boy. What about you?
I'm not the only one they hit.
Don't rub it in. No, I'm sorry, but I could not let him strike you. It was like Obi-Wan's vision. I could not let it come to pass.
Master, you mustn't worry about me.
I do. You are the future of the Jedi Order. You and those boys. I have made far too many mistakes. This is my only chance at redeeming myself.
You do not have to redeem yourself in my eyes, Master. Right at that moment, Anakin and Obi-Wan burst in, weapons drawn as they look around. Though the banker is dead, they still have his computer. Anakin immediately begins trying to hack into it. His fingers run along the keys as he tries to break through the firewalls, but they are more complex than he realized. He begins to falter until a hand rests on his shoulder. It's Qui-Gon.
Concentrate, my boy. Do not use your mind. Use the Force. Let it guide you in search for the truth.
Anakin nods. He takes a deep breath and closes his eyes. He lets his fingers run along the keys and feels a strange sensation whirling in his stomach, pushing him one way, and he follows it until he hears the acknowledgement sound on the computer, lets him in. They stare at the information and see the vault number listed at the bottom. It is on Scipio. With that in mind, the four journey there, this time opting for secrecy after this incident in their outpost. They sneak in the dead of night and head into the vaults. After a brief search, they find the banker's vault and open it. But when they open the vault, they find something more than just money. Inside is Palpatine's severed head on a spike.
What is this?
From behind the vault's columns, Darth Plagueis emerges, draped in black, his skeletal frame radiating menace. No longer hidden, no longer cautious. His yellow eyes flicker with amusement and hate.
A warning for what happens when you fail in this game, young ones. A warning of the fate that will befall you.
He smiles and ignites his saber staff. The others follow. Anakin's heart thunders in his chest as he and Obi-Wan flank the sides. The young boy's heart hammers in his chest, and he fumbles with the borrowed lightsaber in his hands. Obi-Wan presses behind him, letting Dooku and Qui-Gon step forward.
You killed your own apprentice?
He was a failure, and failures are removed.
Dooku and Qui-Gon strike in tandem. Dooku's style is classical, precise, and elegant, Form 2 dueling. Qui-Gon is the storm, aggressive, heavy strikes, fueled by righteous fury. Plagueis continues with unnatural speed, his saber staff spinning like a hurricane. Sparks spray against the vault walls. Every one of his strikes is heavy, driven by the dark side, almost inhuman. The youngest of their group moves as far away as they can, keeping close watch of the battle, but only striking when the opportunity arises. Obi-Wan and Anakin leap from the sides, striking to flank, but Plagueis anticipates them. He reaches out and blasts them both back with a force wave, sending them crashing into the stone.
Children, not warriors.
He moves to finish them off, but Dooku spins to counter Plagueis' left-hand feint. The two trade blows, and Dooku presses forward, thinking his offensive power might carry him forward as he throws a series of quick thrusts. However, Plagueis is just as agile as Maul, if not more, and he avoids each one. When Dooku strikes again, the Sith Lord's blade whirls around and knocks his weapon aside before twisting and driving forward. It punches through his defenses and pierces his side. Dooku gasps and staggers backward. Qui-Gon yells and charges to protect him, but Plagueis moves faster. He lashes out with force lightning that slams Dooku against the wall, his body limp as he falls.
Master!
Qui-Gon grits his teeth, pushes forward, his blade in a blur, his anger rising, but Plagueis turns it back on him, pressing him hard, laughing as he drives Qui-Gon to his knees. As Plagueis raises his blade to deliver the final blow to Qui-Gon, Anakin slides in from the side with a wild, instinctive strike. Plagueis blocks it, but it's enough. Obi-Wan drives low, slashing at Plagueis' leg. A glancing hit burns through the cloth and flesh. Plagueis snarls and leaps backward. The Sith whirls and slashes his lightsaber at Obi-Wan, barely bringing his lightsaber up to block the strike. The sheer force of it throws him back, but he feels an unexpected push as Anakin steadies him, channeling the Force to give Obi-Wan strength. Together, the two hold the attack long enough for Qui-Gon to rise. Just then, Plagueis pushes and cracks their defenses, throwing them back.
Your reign ends here.
Their sabers clash again, but this time Anakin and Obi-Wan are with him, attacking in perfect unison. Anakin's movements are erratic but fast, guided by the Force. Obi-Wan is calculated and controlled, forming a balance, and Qui-Gon rushes down the middle. He shoves him back as he tries to finish his students, preventing him from finishing them off. He tries to channel lightning, but Anakin throws his saber, severing Plagueis' hand. Obi-Wan pins him with the Force, and Qui-Gon steps in, calm and sure, and drives his blade through the Sith Lord's chest. Plagueis chokes, stunned. He crumples to the floor, cloak pooling like blood around him. It is done. They rush to Dooku, but his breaths are shallow, labored. Qui-Gon kneels beside his old master, holding his hand.
Master, you'll be all right.
The Jedi. Blind. But so was I. Finish my mission. Fix my mistakes.
Rest now, Master. The Sith are gone.
Dooku smiles faintly, then grows still. After that, the three continued their investigation around the vault, and soon found the Sith Lord's wealth, and more importantly, his financial record, which they soon used against the Trade Federation. Not only did they murder 2 Jedi, but they also colluded with the Sith. This puts the Jedi on the warpath, and even the Republic cannot ignore it, as they are spurred into action. With the immense risk, Newt Gunray chooses to cooperate and reveal everything. This in turn implicates the banking clan, and the web that Palpatine has slowly built up is unraveled. Leading the charge to destroy it is Qui-Gon, along with his apprentices. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.